the coin toss to the last shot. He break it all down on the spot. Sideline swagger, zip up jacket. Notes in the pad, whole board mapped it. Every city, every loud crowd chanting. If the trophy on the line, he's standing. It's the KR Big Game Show. You feel that buzz soon as lights go. If it's win or lose, he gon' be there. Talking every play like fresh air. Bills Mafia riding, full nation loud. Big smile steady in the tenses crowd. When the big game hit, he on call for show. It's the KR Big Game Show. KR in the zone. When it's time for the moment, you already know.
Ladies and gentlemen, the KR Big Game Show with your host, Big Game Kerry Reeves.
Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing this great Tuesday night that's going on out here? Hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. Welcome to the Big Game KR Show. I am excited about doing this episode tonight. We're going to have a good time. We're going to talk about topics. We're going to have some fun. Great weekend of basketball and Olympic action over the weekend. We're going to get right into it as soon as we cover a couple of things. I want to say thank you for watching our channel again. We're still over 20,000 views. Keep punching that like button and keep sharing our cause so we can gain others to join it. And remember that the opinions and the views of KR's Big Game Show are not of any organization entities. They're solely ours, our WAC family and guest panelist views. And with that said, let's get started. What a weekend we had with college basketball, man. We had fantastic games all over the weekend. We had Duke versus Michigan in Washington, D.C. at the Capital Classic. It was a fantastic ball game, well played. Carlos Boozer was the star among stars, doing everything that he does with Duke, leading Duke to a fantastic victory over Michigan. And that sets up Duke now being the number one team in the country as they go to Notre Dame tonight. We'll find out more about them this week as the rest of the season goes along. Arizona, earlier in the day, Arizona, injured without two of their best players, goes to Houston and basically dominates that game with the Houston Cougars. Very impressive road victory in a great performance. Despite the performance by Kingston Jennings for Houston, who was outstanding. And then later that night, BYU, AJ Arvidsson, the whole show, man. 48 points, beats Iowa State, helps BYU beat Iowa State. What's your favorite game this weekend? What's going on out there in the world? Let's get the comment chat going. Hope everybody's doing great tonight. Get the comments going. Get everything set up. This weekend for me, fantastic. The Duke Michigan game obviously was the big ticket item at Saturday night. It was a great atmosphere. Game day had coverage from 2 hours of their show. It was absolutely fantastic. They had guests. They talked about what was going on in the rest of the college basketball. As we got to the top 16 teams, the NCAA announced their top 16 teams, and they roll as follows. Give me a second. No surprises. No surprises amongst what was going on out there with college basketball. And it was a fantastic day of college basketball. The game, Carlos Boozer, Lux Lundberg from Michigan dueled back and forth. The game, Michigan had a lead of 7. Duke had a lead of 6. It ended up being a game of 5. What a fantastic night it was. The fans were involved. Courtside, you had the stars from Michigan and Duke being on the rings at the courtside seats. It was a Final Four type atmosphere. It was a fantastic atmosphere for college basketball. It's true neutral field. What you're going to see in the NCAA tournament, John Shire and Dusty May, both coaches, enjoyed the environment, enjoyed the game. They said it's a perfect remedy right in the middle, just near the end of conference season. To get a game like this with 2 weeks to go in conference season and have them both play out of conference, what a fantastic idea this was. And I hope this proves the idea for more intersectional games with conferences and near the end of the seasons to get ready for March Madness, which is, believe it or not, we are 3 weeks from this past Sunday is March Madness. We have that going on. we have the Tennessee Volunteers men's basketball team is completely on fire right now, man. Great victories over Oklahoma, and then the impressive win earlier on that Saturday in a game that a lot of people watched, not really as talked about as much, because that was a great in-state rivalry game with the city of in Nashville, with Tennessee and Vanderbilt, back and forth, 20 lead changes. Game with the most lead changes between two teams all year. Great shot making, unbelievable defense, unbelievable spurts. Tennessee at the end in the last 3 minutes outscored Vandy 12-5. Bishop Boswell with two of the biggest shots, I think, of the season. The layup coming down 3, and then the little jumper with the shot clock going down to put him up. And Nate Ament struggled most of the game, but hit an NBA 15-footer when it mattered the most. After losing the ball, getting tied up, he hits a great shot and puts him up for good at 65-64. Tennessee makes 3 throws the rest of the way. Very impressive performance by the Tennessee, not just by the starters, but their bench. You got Berg, you got Al, you got Carey, you got Dwayne Brown, who was huge. You got Amen, who did his thing. Gillespie was consistent, keeping them through the game. What a ball game with them and Vanderbilt. And if you want a chance to see their sequel, a week from Saturday, they play Senior Day in Knoxville, Tennessee and Vanderbilt. Great way to get into the SEC tournament. And right now at the SEC tournament level, if the tournament were to start right now, Florida would be your number 1 seed, Tennessee would be your number 2, Arkansas would be your number 3, and Alabama would be your number 4. The 2 through 4 are tied with 10 and 4, but they have a 2-game lead on 5, 6, 7, and 8. And that's important because if you get them first 4 seeds, you get a top 4 seed, you get a double bye, you don't play to the Friday of the SEC tournament, which turns out to be great. Get some rest and get a chance to knock in. Games this week: Tennessee tonight goes to Missouri in a late start at 9 o'clock Eastern time, 8 o'clock start here. It's going to be on the SEC network. Missouri came off a big victory last week over Vanderbilt and a tough loss to Arkansas on Saturday. They played Arkansas as well, but just didn't have enough for them. You got Missouri tonight for Tennessee, and then Alabama this Saturday night. It's either at 4 or 6. ESPN, I think, is going to carry the game. We're going to find out which network will carry it probably tomorrow. After this game tonight, we'll find out which game carries it. But right now, they are just on serious fire with Tennessee basketball. We've won 10 out of their last 12. If you've won 10 out of your last 12, the 2 losses you had are to Kentucky when you had double-digit leads. If you win one of them, Tennessee has lost interesting games this year, close games and blown leads. Their record could be so much better if they had held on to win a couple of the close games in the non-conference and the SEC, but nothing to dwell about now. They got to keep playing ball, keep playing solid ball. Now let's get to the Winter Olympics. The Winter Olympics came to a close on Sunday with a fantastic men's hockey gold medal game between the United States and Canada. What a game. What an atmosphere. Very rare that atmospheres like that live up to the hype and games live up to the hype. This one lived up to it. I watched it from the minute it began all the way through. It was just a fantastic performance. Connor Hellenbuck in goal stopped 41 of 42 shots. He was the difference maker in the game because Canada had a 5-on-3 power play in the second period, dominated the entire second period, and got only 1 goal, which tied the game. The U.S. hung on in the third period, and then we got to overtime. And my rant, and I have a rant coming up about that, but we'll save that for a little bit after. But what a performance by the Team USA. Hellenbuck and Jack Hughes, who lost a tooth, who got slashed in the mouth earlier in the third period and lost blood and lost a tooth and lost a cap off a tooth, scored the winning goal as Team USA wins 2-1 and wins the gold medal from Canada to go along with Women's Team USA beating Canada in overtime with themselves 2-1 on a fantastic move by Macy Keller in overtime on 3-on-3. And all I have heard throughout this, Canadians, I have Canadian friends, I've listened to the television, all I've heard is the excuses like it should be 3-on-3 in overtime, it should be 5-on-5. Even the Canadian coach said it's a good thing they don't have that in the NHL. Yes. This is not the NHL. This is the International Olympic Committee. You knew the rules going into the tournament. any game in overtime goes 3-on-3 for 20 minutes. Heck, Canada in the quarterfinals, you won an overtime game going 3-on-3. Yourself beating Sweden. You can't sit there and complain. You cannot sit there and complain. I've not heard Canada give a U.S. any credit at all for winning this game. They are so butthurt at the fact that USA owns the hockey gold medals in both men's and women's. Women's, I think they're not as upset, but the men's is the one that hurts because they have dominated so long. It takes just a little bit of sting out of their mouth to know that they don't have the gold medal in hockey. Add on to the fact that they have not won a Canadian team has not won the Stanley Cup since 1993. Add on to the fact that this past October, the Toronto Blue Jays had a 3-2 lead in the World Series on the Dodgers, and the Dodgers won the last 2 games in Canada to win the World Series. Canada is just so butthurt right now. And personally, as someone who grew up an hour and a half from the Canadian border in Jamestown, New York, I could care less because I'm USA all the way. They earned it. They outplayed them. They out-survived them. Team Canada had all the talent, had all the skill players. You got Connor McDavid, who is pound for pound the best hockey player in the world. Once again, comes up short in a major competition. The only competition he has never come up short was the Four Nations last year. But 2 Stanley Cup finals and now an Olympic final where you had no point. You didn't have a point in the championship game. You had 2 breakaway opportunities and didn't get a shot off. Your team had a 5-on-3 power play in the middle of the second period and did not score. As a matter of fact, the only goal you scored came out of those 5-on-5. And it was a bad bounce off Hollenbeck. Otherwise, you may not have scored in that game and probably would have lost 1-0. That just listening to Canada whine, complain, moan. Years. You got 4 years, Canada. The next Winter Olympics, come get us. We are the best country. We ended up with 32 medals, which is the most ever for the U.S. in the Olympic Games. We finished the total in medals with 32. We finished second with gold medals in 12. Some of your favorite moments of the game, some of my favorite moments of the games. The second, it seemed like we had all the injuries and the collapses, major events, and then the second week we had nothing but the glory. It seemed like glory came through in the second week with Mikael Shiffrin winning, with Alyssa Alou winning in figure skating. Gold medal. It seemed like we had a lot of things happen in the second week that was really good, that balanced out the first week when we had Lindsey Vonn and her injury. We had the collapse in the men's figure skating. It seemed like everything bad happened that first week that could possibly happen, but everything good that could happen in the second week happened, and everything just balanced itself out. It was a fantastic Winter Olympics. The closing ceremonies was really cool. And now the NHL starts back tomorrow night. They get back into their teams. It'd be interesting to see how some of the Canadian players and how the American players that played together on some of these teams will interact with each other, but I think they will come together for their team. They've got 20 games left in their NHL regular season, and pretty soon April will be here and the NHL playoffs will start, and it'll be a lot of fun, a lot of great memories. And I think the biggest winners out of the Olympic Games is not only the U.S. Olympic Committee, but I think the National Hockey League came out the biggest winners of the Winter Olympic Games, because most of your men's NHL teams are in the United States. It's a great tourist boost. It's a great publicity for the guys who play on those teams. I think you'll see more TV exposure for those guys that don't get on TV a whole lot. Jack Hughes, for example. Jack Hughes plays for New Jersey. They're not on TV a whole lot. I think they'll start being on TV a little bit more. Get some of these guys some exposure as a thank you for winning the gold, as a thank you for winning the gold medal and playing hard over there for 2 weeks. Now the fun's going to start up with the NHL season. I can't wait to see how the finish of the season goes. We're going to see playoff teams made. We're going to see new teams in the playoffs. We're going to see some of the familiar teams in. It's going to be a lot of fun. The NHL is cracking, and it's back. It's back strong starting Wednesday, and we're going to get going and end the season strong. Now, another bit of controversy this week was the Joey Aguilar case ended in Knoxville with a judge rendering decision that Joey did not get his final year of eligibility. Something told me in the back of my mind this was going to happen, because when the decision wasn't rendered the first day on 2 Fridays ago, that kind of gave me a little trepidation, saying this is not going to go Joey's way. And the judge, it's time for you to move forward. It's time for you to go on with your career. I'm not a big fan of the NCAA deciding what case is more important, whose eligibility is more important. I'm still trying to figure out how Diego Pavia got a 7th year of eligibility, and Joey Aguilar, with the same track record that Diego Pavia had, did not get a 7th year of NCAA eligibility. I don't understand it. They say it's a case-by-case basis. No, I think it's by who they favor more. It seems like everybody favors certain teams over other teams. I can say this: if this was Alabama or somebody else, Ole Miss quarterback got a 6th year of eligibility. Vanderbilt got a 6th year of eligibility. Why not Tennessee get a 7th year? I just don't understand. I think some people have a battle, and it's against certain teams. The NCAA, there's no leadership in the NCAA. And I'm sure my man Stallion has talked about that over and over. There is no leadership. There is no accountability. There's no anything, because it seems like they just run amok. And I mean run them. It just runs amok. Anybody, most of the time, anybody could go and get willy-nilly get another year. Nah. They said the buck stops here. Of course, like, really? I'm not a big fan of that. Never have been a big fan. I don't like the eligibility. I think they need to have universal eligibility. I think eligibility goes back to the old days. If you're injured, you get if you get up to 6 years. If you have an injury that takes you out for a year, I really believe 5 years is the most you should be able to play college football, unless there are special circumstances involved that involve family, that involve you, that involve injuries. That's it. But the transfer portal has really messed things up to a point that some junior college gets to count, some junior college doesn't count. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm not a big fan of this deal. And then another case with the Charles Bediako case keeps going on. He's filed an appeal in the Alabama Supreme Court. I don't understand it. They've ruled against him, but he keeps filing. He wants to play the rest of this year. But it looks like, from what everybody's saying, that's not going to happen, because he has fused up all of his appeals, all of his objections. If people are out there, fill out the comment box. I got the link right here if you want to come on for a few minutes and speak your mind. But yeah, this Joey Aguilar case, there's no leadership. There's no anything going on. Just feels like that the NCAA is running amok. They pick and choose who they want to help. They pick and choose when they pick and choose this, they pick and choose that, but yet they're still in here contracted and trying to make as much money off these guys as humanly possible. I know NIL has came in and has made a play for it, but it's not anywhere near the same battle as what's going on. And I'm not a big fan of what's going on. Joey Aguilar, by the way, has been invited to the NFL Scouting Combine, which starts Thursday in Indianapolis. I got the schedule out here in front, which we're on defensive. On Thursday, you got the defensive linemen, linebackers, and kickers. On Friday, you've got the defensive backs and tight ends. Saturday, you've got quarterbacks, wide receivers, and running backs. And Sunday, the final day, you got the offensive line prospects. There are scheduled to be about 309 prospects are scheduled to participate. There are more than that are going to be there. And some people are once again upset because another quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, coming out of Indiana, is not going to throw during the combine. Folks, this has happened before. Not every quarterback throws at the NFL Combine. They come to the NFL Combine. They fail interviews. Fernando Mendoza believes that he has provided enough. He's got a pro day coming up in the next month in Indiana. No need to throw at the combine when he's going to be throwing on his pro day in Indiana next month. We all know basically he's either going to be a Raider or he's going to be somewhere else with the first pick of the NFL draft. Whoever has the first pick of the draft, if the Raiders decide to trade it, somebody else will pick Mendoza. But I'm hoping that the Raiders keep the pick and take Mendoza to go along with their new coach. But yes, the scouting combine, there are some, not every big name goes there. to participate. Shadur Sanders didn't participate last year, but he did a lot of interviews last year. And other quarterbacks in the past, other big name quarterbacks in the past, do not go to the combine to throw. They usually go to do interviews because all the general managers are there, all the scouts are there. They talk to a lot of people, a lot of media, a lot of TV. NFL Network is going to be carries the scouting combine every year, and along with ESPN, they're going to be throwing in some coverage on their end as well. So yes, Fernando Mendoza is going to speak. Is going to speak to a lot of people. He's going to do a lot of interviews. He's not going to throw. He doesn't have to throw. I'm interested to see some of the guys that really need to work, like Joey Aguilar needs to throw and show them that he is capable NFL quarterback. Diego Pavia, the guy we talked about last time. The last image of him in college football, when he didn't win the Heisman Trophy, he left a bad taste in the mouth of a lot of GMs. He's got to go there and redeem himself and try to get in the good graces, saying that's not who he is. We know who he is. He's a kid. He's 24, but he acts like he's 12. That's what should bother NFL general managers. And this is a pretty deep draft from what we're seeing coming up. We got a lot of pass rushers. You got a lot of offensive linemen, got a lot of skill players, and a few running backs. This is a deep draft this year. You should be able, if you're drafted in a good position, you should be able to get some help for your team. Ty Simpson, as a matter of fact, who may be the second quarterback taken in the draft. It may be day 2 or day 3, but he is going to throw at the NFL draft. He basically needs to throw. His season did not end well for Alabama, and he's got to get himself back, get himself out there, get some new tape out there, show the scouts what he can do. I'm always interested to see some of the linemen, see who impresses at the combine, who has the best vertical jump, who has the fastest speed, who has the best hands, who goes out there and can basically manhandle anybody as an offensive lineman. The NFL combine is something to look forward to. And don't forget, on Sunday, Rich Eisen usually runs his 40-yard race for charity to see how fast he goes. That'll be a funny part of the combine. But I'm looking forward to seeing what's going on with the NFL combine and see the stories that come out of that. Tennessee baseball suffered a little bit this past weekend, losing 2 out of 3 to Kent State, and people are already upset about Josh Easlander losing the weekend series. Folks, Kent State is a good mid-conference team. They have actually won a couple rounds in the NCAA tournament over the last couple of years. They're a pretty good outfit, pretty good team. That's a good non-conference team for Tennessee to face. Tennessee got back out there against Bellarmine tonight and coasted 9-0. So Tennessee's back on the winning track in baseball. Tennessee softball this weekend. They're at home. They get to finally open at Sherry Parker Stadium at home in the Tennessee Classic. They open with App State on Friday at 3:00. Going to be a great weekend. It's going to be weekend. Weather's supposed to be pretty good. It's going to be a great weekend of softball. To get out there, get the tickets, get out there and see your number one softball team in the country. They are killing it right now, beating everybody across the country. They're setting themselves up for a fantastic year. Excuse me, as they try to be one of the favorites to enter into the College World Series later this year, so they can try to win that first national championship. But they're kicking up a storm. The Lady Vols, the basketball-wise, they're struggling right now. Another tough performance at Oklahoma Sunday, where they played really well, but their defense let them down in the fourth quarter, and they lost at 100-93 to a pretty good Oklahoma team, who they may see again at the SEC tournament if the seedings light up properly. They may see them again in the SEC tournament in Greenville. They're struggling right now. Lady Vols played well against Missouri 2 weeks ago, but it seems like since then you lost to Texas, you lost to Mississippi State, and now you lose to Oklahoma. It's been a tough last couple of weeks for Kim Caldwell. They got to get themselves together, get themselves back to doing what they did at the beginning of the season, which is playing fundamentally sound defense and limit the mistakes. If you can limit the mistakes and play defense, you're going to be fine. Because two things travel. The Tennessee men have figured it out. Limit the turnovers, play and lock up the defense. They should take a page from Rick Barnes. And Rick Barnes right now, he's just hot. They're just hot right now. They're 20-7, And in reality, for 4 close losses, they could be 24-3, and we're having a whole nother conversation about them possibly being the number 1 seed and possibly being the top dog in the SEC. But they've got 2 weeks to go. They got Missouri, Alabama, South Carolina, Vanderbilt. You could win all 4 of those games. If you win all 4 of those games, you're at 24-7. You're no worse than second in the SEC. You're setting yourself up for a really good NCAA tournament run. You're setting yourselves up for a good SEC tournament run with a double bye. You play less games. You get more rest, and everybody's going to be ready and ripping and firing to go. I hope everybody is enjoying the show out there tonight. I haven't seen very many comments pop up yet, but I hope everybody's enjoying it. If you're not listening right now, you can listen to it again later on. My big game performance of the week. I've got to go back to the Olympics. I have 2 of them. I have to go back to Saturday night and Carlos Boozer II. Show he put on against Michigan. He showed all of his game, his long-range shooting, his inside post, his passing ability. He's the only man in Division I college basketball, 500-plus points, 250-plus rebounds, 200-plus assists, 100-plus steals. He does it all on the court. He is clearly the best player in America. He will be the Wooden Award winner when the year is done, and he's the driving force behind Duke being the overall number 1 seed. They try to finish their season strong. Next weekend, they host North Carolina on Senior Day. So that should be a very interesting. That's the one chance they'll get a rematch. They may see North Carolina and get a chance at rematch because remember, Carolina beat them at the buzzer in one of their 2 losses this year. Duke lost at the buzzer to Carolina and lost a 14-point lead to Texas Tech. Otherwise, they would be undefeated. We're having a completely another discussion about how good they can be. Second big game performance this week still goes to the Miami of Ohio Redhawks. They are still undefeated in college basketball right now. They are 28-0. They are trying to really get to the getting to the NCAA tournament. They're going to be in good shape one way or the other. Even if they lose before the tournament, they should be an at-large team or win their conference. They should not. If they don't win their conference, they should not be punished because the record they've shown, they've been impressive. They've done their job. That whole crew, coaching staff, everybody deserves so much credit. For the way they're performing this year. And the 2 final big game performances, I go back to the women's game against Canada and the U.S. women's hockey team. Hilary Knight, the captain. She is the longest reigning Olympian. This is her 5th and final Olympics. She gets in front with 2 minutes left and scores the tying goal. And it was a beautiful goal where the USA had just pulled the goaltender. They hadn't pulled the goaltender long. Hilary gets in front as the shot comes. All she does is put her stick down. But it's not just the goal she scored. It's the leadership she shows. She is truly the captain. She keeps everybody in line. She kept everybody in check, saying we could still win this game. We're still going to win this game. And it's set up for a great finish by Keller with the deke and the goal in overtime to win that game 2-1. Great celebration. Fantastic job by Team USA, Women Team USA. My final big game performance is Colin Hellenbeck, the goaltender for the men's hockey team. 42 shots on him, 41 saves. And the man was being peppered all over the place. People took pictures of the saves he made. Like I mentioned before, Connor McDavid had 2 breakaways, couldn't get a shot. Jonathan Toews had a wide open net in front of him, and all Hallenbeck to reflex would stick his stick out and deflect the puck. McMillan had 2 open net chances in the 3rd period, missed. This man was all over the crease. He was all over goal. 41 saves in a pressure-packed situation, which led to the winning goal. And he actually, if you check the scores table, he got an assist on the game-winning goal because he's the one that hit the pass out to the flat, which set up the Hughes goal. He got an assist on the game-winning goal. So those are my big game performances of the week. They were all over the place with college basketball and hockey. Fantastic performances. We had a great weekend of sports action, great weekend of action. And the ratings came out for the hockey game today. It was NBC's highest rated hockey game ever. It got an 18.8 share. Over 30 million people woke up at 8 a.m. Eastern time, no matter what other time was. If you were in Italy, it was after 1 o'clock. If you're in California, it was 5 a.m. in the morning. If you're in Hawaii, it was 3 a.m. in the morning. People woke up to watch that gold medal game, and the ratings showed it. It was absolutely fantastic. And one other special shout out this week. And that's remember the loss of our friend Wes Rucker, who was tragically taken from us in an auto accident almost 2 weeks ago in West Knoxville. I've known Wes for a long time, and Wes is a fantastic reporter. Loved the Vols, loved reporting. He got tributes and Wes wishes from all over the country, because people all over the country. Dick Vitale mentioned it on the telecast with Tennessee and Vanderbilt. Jim Nantz mentioned it on CBS with the golf on Saturday. There were so many tributes from all over the country. Clay Travis, Jimmy Himes, so many people with best wishes and well wishes to his family, Lauren, his wife, his son, and a daughter that's going to be born here really soon. Wes Rucker is going to be missed by so many people. If you see go to the GoFundMe account. If you want to help contribute, apparently learned from Rick Barnes that Wes couldn't get life insurance because of a stroke that he had years ago. And that is so tough. But yes, I've been to the GoFundMe account. I've contributed. A lot of people have been to the GoFundMe account. And if you have a chance to hit the GoFundMe account, please go to it and contribute to the wonderful family. Wes Rucker was a great man, great reporter, great guy. Everybody knew Wes. Everybody loved Wes. Had big smile on his face whenever he came up and was doing a game. He would always be very friendly, always helped you out. And people would always help. He would always help people out. He's going to be missed in this world, and he's a great guy and a great tribute to him. And with that, I end my show tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching the show. And like I said before, when I speak it, you know it's a big game. Thank you for joining us. I will be back on tomorrow night. Rebels with a Cause will be back tomorrow night. Hopefully the full gang is involved. We're going to have a good time talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the weekend. We're going to talk about the combine, some other things that may come up. It's going to be a great night for a therapy session. Really looking forward to everything. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. This is KR signing off. Good night, everybody.
Yeah. KR in the zone. When it's time for the moment, you already know. Flip the channel, hear that voice. Big stakes, big stage, one choice. From the coin toss to the last shot, he break it all down on the spot. Sideline swagger, zip up jacket. Notes in the pad, whole board mapped it. Every city, every loud crowd chanting. If the trophy on the line, he's standing. It's the KR Big Game Show. You feel that buzz soon as lights go. If it's win or lose, he gon' be there. Talking every play like fresh air. Bills Mafia riding, whole nation loud. Big smile steady in the tensest crowd. When the big game hit, he don't call for show. It's the KR Big Game Show. KR in the zone. When it's time for the moment, you already know.
Ladies and gentlemen, the KR Big Game Show with your host, Big Game Kerry Reeves.